We welcome you to James Cotter Field at BC High on the campus of UMass Boston. For this Little East women's soccer matchup, it is the UMass Boston Beacons and the Keene State Owls. I am Mike Drew, welcoming you to the Harbor campus. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon here. Nice that we got the plus side of the 50-50 weekend here. Tomorrow's going to be terrible, but for the time being, for the next few hours, we should be in ideal conditions relatively to get this match in. The Beacons 15-2 overall. They are unbeaten in Little East play at 6-0. They've won 12 straight, 6 straight out of conference as well, which is even more impressive when you look at the caliber of competition that they've faced on the schedule. Keene State, a key rival here, 8-7, 4-2 in Little East play. This has always been a big-time rivalry, and this late-season match here today will be no different. We jump into a look at this match. So we take a look at the stats for both of these teams, and there you see it. The goals per game, pretty much even. Keene State slight edge there, 2.47 to 2.12. It's going to be tough to score on both of these teams here today. Goals allowed against, look at that, for UMass Boston, under 1.7. And Maria Spilios, the freshman who will start today, has been tremendous. The shots per edge to UMass Boston, saves per an edge to Keene State. Keene State very unique in that they split the game in half between two goaltenders normally. The two juniors that they feature, Shelby Offord and Abby Tarinka. A little bit of a different sprinkle here today because Offord is normally the one who starts, but they're going to start Abby Tarinka, or so they told us here today. And the final stat you see there, corners per, big edge to UMass Boston. They get a lot of those, over 6 per game. Now we cycle into our 3 things to know here, and there's one we already talked about. 13-game win streak coming in for the Beacons. It's incredible at this point. They're 15th in all of Division III in win percentage, and Amy Zombeck, the coach for the Beacons, an All-American as a player at Keene State. So that adds another wrinkle to what has been a historic rivalry here in this league. Well, the last time that UMass Boston was here, it was a thriller against Southern Maine, went to double overtime, but the Beacons kept that winning streak going. Here were the highlights.
What you wanna do, baby? Where you wanna go? I take you to the moon, baby. I take you to the floor. I treat you like a real lady, no matter where you go. Just give me some time, baby, 'cause you know, even when we're apart, I know my heart is still with you. 5 more hours down the night is ours, and I'm back with you. This right here is my type of party. 5 more hours, we just getting started. This right here is my type of party. 5 more hours, we just getting started.
17 Grace Mediatrix.
We're just getting started.
How you wanna feel, baby? What you wanna know? Just pour another drink, baby. Come on, pour a little more. I treat you like a real lady. I'll keep you out the cold. I'll give you all my time, baby. You know, even when we're apart, I know my heart is still big with you. 5 more hours down the night is ours, and I'm back with you. This is, yeah, this right here is my type of party. Yeah, 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 yeah. 5 more hours, we're just getting started. This
by number 17, Grace Ledesrick, her 10th of the season.
This right here is my type of party.
So the pair of late goals by Mary Jo Murphy, the sophomore, rescuing UMass Boston, the double overtime win over Southern Maine. As we show you our player to watch here today, and there's actually a pair of them. Senior Day here at UMass Boston, and the two that will be honored here, Taylor Bilyak and Miranda Smith. And the pregame ceremony is ongoing right now. They're out there on the field with their families. Miranda Smith, one of the goalkeepers on this team, didn't play all of last season, has played in 2 games here in 2019, 1 start that came here against Regis. And Taylor Bilyak, 18 straight games played last year, has not contributed all that much here in her senior season on the field, but in terms of leadership, she is an important cog, no doubt, to what goes on that Beacons bench. So those two being recognized right now. And speaking of Taylor Bilyak, she is the subject of our Beacon Spotlight here today. She sums up her career, which started at D2 Southern Connecticut, and tells why her senior season has been so special.
So when I went to Southern Connecticut, I had a few different options. I had a couple D1 schools I was looking at as well, and D2, pretty much all in the NE10 conference. But I chose Southern Connecticut because I was offered a soccer scholarship there, and I really liked the campus and the team, so that's why I chose Southern Connecticut. But then when I went there, like for the whole freshman class, things really weren't what we expected. I was there for 2 years, mostly because of my team, and I really love my teammates. But most of my friends ended up graduating, so I decided that I kind of wanted to leave as well. And then I ended up finding UMass Boston. I chose Boston because of the location. I love Boston, and since I'm going into the medical field, there's so many great hospitals in Boston, so that's kind of why my decision went into choosing this school. And so when I first came here, it was awesome. Like, I was playing 90 minutes. It was amazing. It was what I wanted, but the only downside was my team wasn't that great. We were kind of like 500 season in conference, so it was okay. The team chemistry wasn't as good as it is now, so honestly, it's been phenomenal comparing my first year here to now. The team that we brought in last year and the players this year have just made it something that I couldn't ever dream of, so it's been great. Last year, making it into the finals was awesome. We have a great group of like 15 freshmen that came in, and I still had another year to work with them, so even though we didn't win last year in the finals against Western, it really gave us that push we needed for this year. I think coming into this year, we have so much more fight, and building off of last year, where we've developed a phenomenal team, and I'm so happy to be a part of that and see what we can keep on doing. Coming in my first year, I didn't expect this to ever happen, so being in my senior year now and having a chance to win LECs and then a good chance for the national championship, it's incredible, so I can't wait to see what we can do.
The senior from Willington, Connecticut, Taylor Bilyak. Nice to hear from her, and we will hear from Miranda Smith as well. That's coming up at the half. So we take you around Beaconville here. The other Beacons matchups going on here on this senior day, family day, whatever you want to brand it as. And you see that the Beacons volleyball squad is taking on Keene State across the street. That match just underway about 15 minutes ago. We've got men's soccer playing the other edition of this rivalry today on the road in Keene, and they got started about 15 minutes ago. We're starting a few minutes late here in the women's game because Keene State's bus was a little bit late in getting here. I walked with them over to the field, so I can confirm that. And then you see men's hockey coming up later today, 4 o'clock start time against the EHL All-Stars. So a lot of things going on around Beaconville here today, and a lot of folks in attendance, a lot of families, and a pretty nice crowd here at James Cotter Field for this one. So the pregame ceremonies continuing here, the starters being announced on both sides, and we'll give you those starters right now because Why not? For the Beacons, already talked about Maria Spilios. She will make start number 11 in net. The only game she missed this year was on the 25th against Regis. She has been a rock in there with a GAA of .71. Grace Oliver, Jacqueline Turner, Kenya Wade, Isa Andrade, Kelly McNeil, Mary Jo Murphy, who had the game winner that you just saw, Grace McGettrick, Allie Crawford coming off one of the best games of her career, Cal Pitts, and Danny Anderson, the other starters for Amy Zombeck today. On the other side, for head coach Denise Lyons, year number 24 with Keene State, she will start Abigail Tarinka in net today, so it's the reverse of what they've been doing, as we already talked about. Shelby Offord likely will get the second half. Alyssa Wilcox, Nicole Dalmeda, Alex Kennedy, Patricia Norton, Jordan Abashano, Casey Koziara, Kaliana Palhoff, Maggie Vogt, and Sarah Karen, your other starters. Now the national anthem's going on, so time for me to shut up. Okay, well, now we'll show you our out-of-town scoreboard here. You see, Western Connecticut and UMass Dartmouth already played. They had an early start time, and Western Connecticut with a win there, 3-1. Other games going on right now, Southern Maine and Rhode Island, they are scoreless at the half. Plymouth State up 1-0 on Castleton there in the first half, and Eastern Connecticut up 1-0 on Brandeis. That game also in the first half, and you look at the standings coming into this one, UMass Boston 15-2 overall, 6-0 in the league. They have that number one spot. They are tied with league, in terms of league record, I should say, with Western Connecticut. They're also 6-0, but overall 12-4-1, so that puts Western Connecticut in the 2 spot. Keene State is third right now, 4-2 in the league, 8-7. Eastern Connecticut is fourth, Castleton fifth, Plymouth State is sixth with a 500 mark in the league at 3-3. And UMass Boston exceeding preseason expectations. They were ranked third in the LEC preseason poll. Keene State far exceeding expectations. They were ranked 7th out of 9 coming into the season, and they have played very well under Denise Lyons. Again, her 24th season, which is pretty incredible. So here we are, 20 minutes after our scheduled start time, and we are finally ready to get this thing going. UMass Boston and Keene State, as we start to wrap up, I should say, the regular season home schedule. One more home game in the regular season next Tuesday. That's when Bridgewater will be in here for a 7 o'clock start. And then a road match at Western Connecticut before tournament play begins. Officials for this one, Matt Stein is the head referee, Megan Lund the assistant, and the other assistant, Jibola Oikoya. As we kick it off, and off we go with Keene State on the attack, and a shove right away. It was Cal Pitts who was called for the opening foul, and so you're going to have a free kick here from the 45-yard line. as we use the football terminology because, well, we're on a football field. In any case, Danny Anderson has it in front of the net, and we battle on the near side here. As you see the ball trickle over here to the near side, that's Grace Oliver. And she'll play it back, and the Beacons try and get on the attack here. Oliver calling for it, and she has some space. Oliver working one-on-two, tries to center one, does, but it goes right into the breadbasket of Tarinka, who again is making the start here, offered likely to play the second half. But a good early opportunity there for UMass. At least they get the ball on net. And now Oliver with perhaps another chance as she goes mano-a-mano here with Casey Koziara, but the shot goes well wide. It will go out of play and back the other way. Maggie Vogt will handle it, so Oliver was trying to go cross field that time. And there just wasn't much there. Isa Andrade was the closest one to it, as this one continues to be played on the Beacon side of the field here. And driving inside with it is Andrade, and she misses wide. And you see some frustration from Cal Pitts. She thought there was a foul there. The officials didn't agree. So Tarinka will kick it off. Just underway here. As out toward midfield it goes, where it's headed there by Mary Jo Murphy, who again had the two late goals in that double overtime win against Southern Maine to bring the Beacons back. Now another chance as Allie Crawford drives and just leaves one way too far for Oliver to catch up to. Crawford, we told you, coming off one of the best games of her career, some would say the best, earlier this week, a 5-0 non-conference win for UMass Boston. That came at Framingham, and a lot of girls on this team got some playing time in that one. I mean, they really spread out the minutes in a game that they won very easily. As this one trickles all the way back down toward Tarinka. There was a collision there just shy of the 50. She had Sarah Karen going down for Keene State, who has yet to go on the attack here. And the Beacons, again, keeping the ball on this side, and it trickles right to Oliver. Oliver in a one-on-one, dishes it across. That's Grace McGettrick over there. She's a scoring threat. McGettrick driving in, and it goes off the hands of Tarinka, but she recovers for the save. So another ball on net, but nothing to come of it here in the opening rally here for UMass Boston. At this point, Keene State just needs to get the ball on the other side of the field. Pretty much this entire game has been played on this side, as hustling over to it, Alex Kennedy. And the Owls managed to keep it in play for a moment, but it goes out off of UMass Boston, and now they'll continue on with the possession. This is Alyssa Wilcox, sophomore out of Barry, Vermont, who gets it up near the midfield stripe, and they'll continue to possess it from there. You see Denise Lyons very vocal over there on the bench, trying to wake her team up here because, as we said, this game has been dominated by the UMass Boston attack here in the first few minutes. The Owls' offense has been non-existent. So they get it over here to the near side, and defensively a nice job by Murphy to get over there and bother Kaliana Palhoff, as this will go all the way back down toward Tarinka. And she'll have another high kick here out toward the other side. And trying to charge on it and make a play was Patricia Norton, but there was nothing to be had. And here is Allie Crawford bringing it back down, but this time the Keene State defense forms a wall, and it was Nicole Dalmeida who made the deflection to get it over, and Kenya Wade gets it back over to the other side now for the Beacons. Wade, a central defender for this team as a sophomore. As handling it on the far side now, McGettrick, as she centers one back up for Crawford, and that one is well wide as Crawford went down to the turf, and this one will be ruled a foul. It'll stay here. So you're going to have a free kick coming up. It was a slide tackle attempt. And you're going to have Danny Anderson taking the free kick. So you got Keene State forming the wall on the right side. See which way Anderson wants to go with this. So they draw the play up, and she'll try to split it, but it went right into the stomach of Maggie Vogt, who just stood there and took it. And out of play. $39 left to go in this first half. Again, a bit of a late start today. The Keene State bus late in arriving, but finally into some action here. As bringing it along is Norton, but Kenya Wade, that was easy money, waiting for it on the other end, and they battle for possession near midfield. There's another collision. This time it was Pitts running right into Jordan Abashano. But Keene State retains the possession. So this has been a physical start for the UMass Boston defense, and that typically is how they play. 3-on-2 here if they hurry. Oliver calling for it here on the near side, finally gets it. The Keene State defense catches up. Oliver looking back now for help, tried to center it, and it will end up going back out to Murphy. Murphy with a nice pass, except it went to no one over here on the near side. Oliver was there for a moment, but Murphy will keep it as they get it back in. Andrade, and that went off the left foot to no one, out of play. So there was hope there on that possession for a moment. They had the 3-on-2 chance, but the Keene State defense hustling back eventually, and nothing comes of it. Pretty clear, though, in these first few minutes that UMass Boston has been the aggressor on offense here on their home field, and Keene State still has yet to register as much as a shot on goal. As out near the 50, this one battled for, and here's a foul. They'll get Crawford for it, as Wilcox was trying to possess it. And here's the kick down near the attacking zone, but again, there was not much of a play there. Grace McGetrick coming up with it and dishes to Wade. So along it goes as that's McGetrick over on the far side catches up to it. And this one kicked back out of play, but it'll stay on this side. So a throw in from the side out as Andrade hustles over there, but instead the pass will come in to Kelly McNeil. First time we've said her name today, as she thwarts one in, but it's wide to the right. And Tarinka has to go over there and field it. You see Mary Jo Murphy clapping her hands, trying to get something going here on offense. They've had chances, but they haven't really been able to really come up with a threatening shot on goal. They've had a few, but they've been fairly easy saves for Tarinka to this point. As Keene State with a throw in from the side, Oliver tries to get in there and make a mess of it, and she does as it gets pinballed back a few times, and now you have Murphy going down to the turf, and Keene State possesses it. It's Alex Kennedy trying to spin around with it. There was nothing there. Had to play it back to Vogt, and now Andrade ends up with it. Slick move there to avoid the defender, and ends up being run into a little bit by McNeil, and then it ends up going the other way. Wade at midfield with it. She has been the first line of defense on that other side of the field, Kenya Wade, and that's typically what she is. Doesn't let many go past her. As, again, the Keene State defense rising up here a little bit. Abashano involved, and this gets kicked out right in front of us. It'll be Beacon's possession. Murphy throws it in immediately. So both defenses kind of settling in here. You got to give the Keene State defense a little bit of credit, because for the amount of time that UMass Boston has possessed the ball here early, they've held strong in these last couple of minutes, and nothing's come of these chances to this point for the Beacons. This one kicked over to the far side by McGetrick, trying to catch up to it, Turner. First time we've said Jackie Turner's name since we gave you the starters. 5'4" sophomore from Plymouth, Massachusetts. As this one kicked almost out of play right in front of the Keene State bench, and now it is. Right near Ike McMillan, the assistant over there. And the Owls play it out near midfield. Abishano handling it. And the Owls will again have a throw in, this time in front of the Beacons bench. Nothing to come out of this chance, as again you had the UMass Boston defense, Mary Jo Murphy, waiting for it, but the Owls perhaps with a chance to keep it in here in the attacking zone as they try and set one up for Kennedy. But Andrade right there, and she tries to get a breakaway going the other way. 2-on-2 if they hurry it, which McGetrick was trying to do. Oliver calling for it, and now it'll be kept in the zone at least by Crawford all the way into the corner as it rolls out. So there have been a couple quick breakaways that the Beacons have initiated from the other side of the field, but they haven't been able to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, if you will, and finish it off. As this one goes over near Wade, and the left foot corrals it and gets it over the other way, and now a battle and another collision. No call here. The official throws his hands up, and a battle for it in front, and this one gets kicked right off the shin of Ashley Bates, off of McNeil by Ashley Bates. And again, on and on we go here. Tarinka will have the free kick. Well, if you're Maria Spilios right now, you could have taken a nap here for the first 13-plus minutes of this half, and right as I say that, she finally gets her foot on one. Over to Danny Anderson. We call that the kibosh. Was finally put on, and that's all you got to do is say a name, and voila. Meanwhile, on the other end, here's one that trickles just wide. That's maybe the best shot on goal that they've had to this point. You had UMass Boston accelerating there on the attack. The Keene State defense asleep a little bit. Andrade, along with Jackie Turner. And they're going to give Turner the shot on that. But just wide. And Tarinka fortunate. So, we play on here. Here is Murphy nubbing one out of bounds, and it'll go over to the Owls. But it has pretty much been impossible for Keene State to get the ball over onto the attacking side of the field here. So this Beacons defense has been fantastic to open this game. Just about 15 minutes into it as the throw-in comes near Andrade, who almost shoved Casey Koziara straight down onto the turf, avoided that. This one gets centered up. Here's a shot, and Tarinka dives down to get it off the left foot of Allie Crawford. So Crawford was right player, right time there as Andrade found her open in the middle, but not enough mustard on it to sneak it past Tarinka, who had to go down to her left to come up with it. Here's one that goes all the way down towards Spilios. They had an open man there, Sarah Karen, but the pass just way too far. That was the best-looking play offensively to this point for Keene State, but the pass just too strong. Anderson gets back there and tattoos one over to the other side of the field. And a shove here as McGetrick's elbow inadvertently came down on Maggie Vogt. And because of that, you're going to have another free kick here. So they get it over to the other end, and Kenya Wade sticks her chest out and gets all ball as it goes out toward midfield. Keene State just trying to keep it in the zone here, if nothing else, just for a couple of minutes, give the defense a breather, but they haven't been able to do it to this point in the first half. As you got Jackie Turner hustling over to it, a battle again in front of the Keene State bench, and it's going to stay here with Turner, who gets the throw in. And now going down to the turf is McGetrick. She was double teamed there off the initial throw in. Nothing comes of that, as now Oliver has it, working against two defenders. Centers it back. Andrade's there. Andrade squirts through two. Oliver in the corner, and she keeps it in play. Back over toward Murphy. Murphy fires one, and this is too tall. Right idea, because there was open net there to play with, but a little too much on it from Mary Jo Murphy. Well, this is how the last home game here that we alluded to against Southern Maine started. It was kind of a sleepwalk for a while, but eventually the Beacons got behind in the second half, and then it was Murphy with 2 goals, one to tie it at the end of regulation and the other to win it in the second overtime, that sprung UMass Boston to their 13th consecutive win. As over on the far side here, McGetrick down on the ground again, but nothing comes of it again. Murphy at midfield, hucks one up. And now it's just a heading competition here for a little while. And finally, it'll come down on the Keene State side of the field. Numbers here if they hurry, but Anderson steps right in and thwarts it. That's been the problem here for the Owls, even when they have the man advantage. UMass Boston's defense comes out of nowhere, and the rally is over before it started. This defense has been doing that so often this year. Just been suffocating more than anything, and that's why UMass Boston is at the very top of this league right now. Koziara with a throw-in, and now she tries to play it back, but Andrade was the first to it and then shoveled it backwards to nobody. So another throw-in for Koziara coming. 26.5 left in the half, and now you got Koziara holding her right hand out. Said something to the official. Was upset with something. I can't figure out what it was. Anyway, Wade on this side gets it back down, and there's nobody home, so Tarinka will just kick it back all the way down. Wade gets her foot on it, and now it's off the head of Murphy on the near side. And back the other way it goes. Andrade calling for it, trying to set up Oliver here on the sideline. Oliver has it, working directly against Koziara, and now here's a nice give and go. Oliver has it on the near side corner, tries to center one up, and the Keene State defense right there. No other shot on goal here to this point. Battle for it again, and now it's kicked back out. So they've had a few nice drives, mainly with Grace Oliver on the near side, but tried to take it herself there initially, and there was nobody home in the middle by the time she got there. Victoria Reynolds into the game for Keene State here, number 17, 5'1" sophomore from Keene, New Hampshire. And here's a little shove on the far side from McNeil. And McGetrick involved in the battle for possession there at midfield again, but it goes the way of Keene State for the moment as they have to hustle back to it. Andrade there. And the ball will stay here. Is driving in with it. Is pitched. She goes down. Here's a shot by Andrade that sneaks through. 1-0. UMass Boston, they finally come up with pay dirt. At the 25-minute mark of the first half, Isa Andrade. Goal number 4 of her season, and the Beacons out to an early advantage. Now they can play from ahead here.
Isa Andrade.
It's what this team wants to do here on their home field. Get ahead, play from ahead, let this defense do its work. As Anderson got her foot on one, and now it's played at midfield by Murphy. A lot of open space in front of Mary Jo Murphy. In fact, there's nobody there for Keene State, but there was nobody else there either for the Beacons. Andrade got there late. So it'll be Keene State's possession, played over on the far side. 24 minutes left to go in this first half. So Cal Pitts, give her some credit for helping to start the rally. And then Andrade, off the ricochet, sends it home past Tarinka. Tarinka, who came into this one with a 1.28 GAA, had allowed just 10 goals on the season. And now 11, as you're going to have a corner coming up here. Oliver will handle the corner for the Beacons. This will be corner kick number 105 on the season for UMass Boston. And where does she want to go? Tees one up in the middle. Rebound, and this one thwarted off of the post, it looked like, on the far side. As there was an opportunity there for Grace Oliver in the middle, or rather Jackie Turner, excuse me. Oliver was the one who set it up. And you're going to have the ball staying on this side. So that was nearly a fruitful corner. But the Beacons, again, applying the pressure on Tarinka in net. And this entire first half, seemingly, has been played in front of her. She's going to have a free kick here. So this one is sent along, and Tarinka bats it, rebound, and it goes wide. Danny Anderson was right there, had a wide open net and just whiffed. That was set up by the free kick by McNeil, which was a good one. It was a low liner, and off the rebound, Beacons had a chance in front but couldn't put it home. Murphy now gives to Andrade. Slick move to get past the defender. Tries to center one now. Murphy's there, and what a play by Tarinka to come all the way out as the ball trickles over to the other side. Wide open net, and Jackie Turner pays it off. That's the risk in doing what Abby Tarinka just did. Made a sensational play to come out of the net and come up with the save, but then off the rebound, wide open net, and Jackie Turner takes advantage of it. Her first goal of the season. Meanwhile, they're going to come out now and check on Tarinka here because she really took a shot. And she's still down. Again, off of that rebound, she may have taken a cleat to the shin. Clearly there was some form of contact, as now they have very quickly Shelby Offord, the other goalie, warming up very quickly right on that Keene State bench. So we don't know if Tarinka is going to come out or not. It's that left leg that she's trying to stretch out. Training staff out there to check on her. They have not signaled to the bench yet, and she's going to stay in. So some toughness here from Abby Tarinka. And she will not go to the bench. Shelby Offord will go back to the bench over on the Keene State side. She was trying to get ready in a hurry. But Tarinka stays in the game with 21:49 left. 2-0 now. UMass Boston in front. Goals from Isa Andrade and Jackie Turner, her first of 2019. Best thing you could say about Jackie Turner prior to that last goal is she's always available. Only missed one game this year. That was back on the 25th of September against Regis. As again, Keene State can't get anything going on this side. As back up the other way is Mary Jo Murphy, and she tries to get one all the way over to Morgan Palma, but Palma wasn't looking for it initially, so you got a battle over on the far side. Keene State trying to get this thing out, and they will directly in front of the scorer's table over there. Beacons expanding the lead. 2-0 here at BC High, and this team would love nothing more than to close out the regular season home schedule with a nice easy one here, but a long way to go. Of course, they have Bridgewater in here next week as well. This one's set up for Oliver, who gets it back over to Murphy. Tarinka dives down and got her right hand on it and somehow managed to keep it out. Well, again, the grit of Abby Tarinka being shown right here after being kicked in that left leg, refusing to come out, and then willing to go right back down to the ground to thwart that one away with her right hand. So you're going to have a corner coming. It's Murphy who will kick it up. Actually, it was Allie Crawford over there in the near side corner. And the Keene State defense knocks it right back out. Anderson gets one over, and Tarinka comes out and swats that over near the sideline. So it'll stay right here. And another corner on the way. Oliver on the far side will handle this. Pitts, Crawford, Anderson, McNeil all setting up in front. Murphy as well. Oliver's kick comes in. It's a good one, and looked like Cal Pitts almost ran into Anderson. The two of them colliding right in front of the net. As Pitts tried to head one in, and that's a break for Keene State. There's another opportunity there for UMass Boston to extend the lead even further. As again, they can't clear it. Murphy almost had a chance to have a free shot at the net there. Drives it in, trying to take on three defenders. And now over on the far side, it goes to Palma. Palma goes down initially, didn't go all the way to the ground. Maggie Vogt with it. And Keene State gets it back out near midfield. So that was another possible opportunity for the Beacons. That time, Keene State shut it down. 18 minutes left in this first half now. And for the first time in a while here, Maria Spilios gets to break a sweat. She was doing a little shuffle there in front of the net. As now back the other way it goes, and offside is going to be the call. Oliver couldn't believe it. Threw her right hand up and said, "What?" But Matt Stein with the call, and it's going to go back the other way. This one goes back down. Played in the middle. And Taylor Bilyak, on her senior day, gets involved. Spilios comes over and scoops one up. So there was no rebound opportunity for the Owls. Spilios kicks it up straight away. And back over to the Keene State side. Oliver with it. And she gets it right past Koziara. Those two have been matched up this entire first half here, and Oliver to this point has gotten the better of that matchup. Coming up on 16 minutes to play in the half. And a nice little dribble move here from Allie Crawford to get past it. Serves one up, Oliver in front, and that one's off the upright. Wrong sport. And you'll have a substitution here. So they're going to take Oliver out. And it is Jalila Ocampo. First time we've seen her in this one. Sophomore out of Braintree. So she's in. Oliver, we'll see if she's done for the half. Again, with 16 minutes to play here, and the Beacons enjoying the 2-goal lead. Battle out near midfield again. This time it's Alyssa Wilcox trying to sneak one over, and there's no sneaking by Allie Crawford. She goes to the deck, and it will be her ball here. So Wilcox, the foul for Keene State. Anderson handles the free kick and just goes the safe route, gets it over to Turner, and it'll stay on this side. It'll be Kelly McNeil now from the near sideline on the free kick. Lofts one up, and this one's going to go out of play. Closest one to it was Murphy. No real threat for Tarinka. Came out of the net to try and field it at the end, but it was already past her. So Tarinka will tee it up. Trying to get it back out toward midfield. Does. And it's Kaliana Palhoff here. And now you got Ocampo getting involved as she kept it on this side. Keene State defense just desperate to get the ball over to the other side of the field right now. Ocampo working against Kennedy. Ocampo tried to center one up. Kennedy gets her foot on it, and it trickles out near the 15-yard line, and it's going to be played there by Turner. This one teed up by Murphy. Ocampo calling for it. Ocampo with the shot, and Tarinka goes down to her left to get it. So how about Ocampo, fresh into the game off the bench? She's not waiting around. She is very aggressive here. She started every postseason game last year for the Beacons, so she does have a lot of experience. Not much in the way of stats for her this year, but the only game she missed was on September the 28th at Eastern Connecticut. So she's also been available. It's one of the key things for any team, the durability. That's why, well, another one of the many reasons why UMass Boston has been so successful here in 2019 is the availability of pretty much everybody on the roster. This one is played along, and you're going to have a whistle here as two Beacons converged on one Owl. You had Kelly McNeil mixed up in that, and it will be a free kick. So opportunity here perhaps for Keene State. Maybe their best of the day to this point. Maggie Vogt will handle the free kick. Spilios hugging the right pole right now, and now she gets back into the center. Here's the free kick. It's a soft one, and this one's played right in front of the net by Pitts. Keene State looking for a handball. They didn't get it, and the ball's out of play. So Keene State making a change here. It's Alyssa Wilcox coming out. The junior Rachel Braun is into the game for the first time as Kenya Wade plays this one along. 12 minutes left in the first half. This one shot right into the Beacons bench. They continue to control the pace here, up 2-0. And Keene State defense comes up with a play here. It was initiated by Caitlin Close, and Kenya Wade comes out and says, I don't think so. Back over toward the Keene State bench it goes. Anytime there's been a little glimmer of hope for Keene State here to start something offensively, it's been Kenya Wade back there, along with Danny Anderson. And here's Wade again. And the Beacons control it. Played along to Crawford. And now trying to set up Turner on the near side, racing after it, Morgan Palma. And it's out of play. The official holds his hand out as it's going to go in front of us here on the near side. Beacons maintain possession. Palma calling for it on the near side, didn't get it. And it's kept in by McNeil as she fires one right into Tarinka. Easy play, so nothing comes of that possession. 10.5 to go in this half. 2-0 is the score. We remind you, coming up at the half, got a bunch of stuff here for you. We got Miranda Smith's Beacon Spotlight. Some highlights from Tuesday's win in Framingham for the Beacons. We'll take you around Beaconville, Little East scoreboard that you saw earlier, all kind of stuff coming up. That's at the half. As you got some action here in front of the Beacons bench. They're going to award UMB the possession here. So, comes in, Ocampo tried to duck her head so it would hit off the Keene State defender, and she succeeded. Andrade throws it in, and back the other way we come now with Murphy. Murphy fires one in, and it goes off the upright, and it trickles back out, and that was disaster averted. Cal Pitts was right there to sneak it through, but it went off the upright and just took a bad bounce for the Beacons. That was a golden opportunity gone awry. Just didn't get the bounce. As this one goes back out toward midfield. Here's McNeil playing it along. Back out it goes. You got Crawford there waiting for it. Norton tried to take it away, couldn't. McNeil with it. McNeil leaves one over for Ocampo. Ocampo drives in. Ocampo looking for help. Centers one. Murphy's in there, but it gets swatted back out of play. And it's going to stay here. We're going to have a throw-in, I believe. It's going to be Bilyak. She gets it into Murphy, and on the give and go gets it back. Ocampo trying to get by a defender over there. Back over to Bilyak. Couldn't sneak through two defenders, so she had to play it back, and that's where this possession is heading right now. Bilyak trying to push one forward, and instead coming away with it, Sarah Karen, and Keene State trying to get it over to the other side of the field. They will, and they sneak it by Kenya Wade, and now an opportunity for a 2-on-3, but instead it goes over to the Beacons bench. Going to have a substitution here, maybe? Eventually, Keene State, somebody's standing over there at the table for them. Officials have not given the signal to come on in yet, so we play on. This one is swatted back out of play by Vogt. And we carry on here. 7.5 to go in this first half. That has flown by here. 2-0. The UMass Boston lead, and now they're trying to extend it and put Keene State into an even deeper hole. going into the locker room. Here, this one goes straight on through the goalpost, but that doesn't count for 3 in this sport. Meanwhile, another Keene State defender down, and that was Maggie Vogt, and she's hobbling right now. She's walking a little gingerly on that left ankle. She's looking down at it. She's yet to come out. We're going to continue on here. So it has been a very physical first half, and for Keene State, not only are they behind on the scoreboard, but they've had a couple players take some shots. First it was Tarinka in net, and now Vogt a little banged up. As this one's played back into the Beacons attack zone, and here's Palma racing after it. Centers one. Ocampo's there, but he got an offside. So a near opportunity there. Ocampo hustling to create it, but a little too much hustle, and the offside was called. Second time we've seen that go against the Beacons here in the first half. Well, Keene State's offense, where is it? That's what they're asking themselves over there on the far side bench. This UMass Boston defense has completely taken them out of their game here in the first half. They got to somehow try and sneak one past Kenya Wade here as she goes back and heads one along. Anderson is the other defender back there, and now in front, easily their best chance of the day. It went up over the crossbar. Spilios rarely caught out of position, but she was there. And that was the moment right there for Keene State. Rachel Braun and Jordan Abashano in front. And it was Abashano who very nearly put that one home. That's a break for the Beacons, to be sure. Ocampo playing in front of the Keene State bench, has it taken away by Alex Kennedy. And we continue to play along. Here's Ocampo. Leaves one, and there's nobody there. Now, you look back at the end of this one, if UMass Boston does go on to win it, and that near miss on the Keene State side, a key moment in this game. That could have flipped this entire thing around. It was what the Owls were waiting for and just couldn't cash it in. On the road, that hurts, as you're going to have Rachel Braun step out of bounds here. So Turner with the throw-in. And Keene State, if they want any chance, obviously can't afford to give up a third here in these last couple minutes before the half. 3:50 to go. Hustling after it on the far side, Allie Crawford. And now the Owls with a chance to bring it back the other way here on a breakaway. Here it is on the near side, trying to set up Kaylee Marshall. And instead, it went off her foot out of bounds, so Turner has another throw in here. And this one controlled by Keene State. Slide tackle attempted by Palma, but she was thwarted away by Koziara. This one comes in front, and Spilio says, I'll take that. 3 minutes left in the half. Spilios, whose best friend earlier was the net, the fact that it wasn't any taller, as Palma goes down, would have had a chance for a centering pass over there, but instead Tarinka will have another kick. At this point, if you can get out of here at 2-0, if you're Keene State, you feel fortunate, because UMass Boston has had, seems like, countless opportunities in front of the net here in the half, and only put home 2 of them. Ocampo on the far side tries to center one. And now she whiffs on the kick back. And the battle for it ensues over there. If nothing else, Beacon's trying to chew up some clock. Here's Anderson driving in from the defensive position. She can't come away with it. And this will be kicked back the other way for Keene State. Chance to possibly start a rally there. They had numbers as they try and leave one up. They were trying to split the defenders to get to Abishano, but the pass couldn't get through. As we come up on 90 seconds to go in this half. And Keene State with it in the attacking zone again. Again, a centering pass for Abishano, but she was nowhere to be found. And here's Crawford the other way. This one's centered up. Played on the near side. Mary Jo Murphy hustling after it. She kicks it out and immediately asks for the new ball to throw it in. 1:10 to go. So we'll see if there's one last opportunity coming here for the Beacons. Murphy gives way to Turner on the throw-in. Under a minute to go in the half now. And here is Turner trying to center one in. Tarinka has to come out there and field it. Good thing she did because Ocampo was hustling in there and was ready to knee that one home, but Tarinka with the hustle comes out and grabs it. Under 40 seconds to go in the half as Keene State trying to prevent another shot on goal here for UMass Boston. Battle for it right in front of the scorer's table. It goes out of play. 20 seconds to go, and we'll see how aggressive the Beacons want to be here. It doesn't seem like very, but who knows? This one kicked back over in front of the Keene State bench. Under 10 seconds. Kenya Wade kicks it over, and that should take us to the half. So a pair of UMass Boston goals, the first by the freshman Isa Andrade, and the second by the sophomore Jackie Turner. And on Family Day here at UMass Boston, it is the Beacons 2 and Keene State nothing at halftime. And with that, we will transition right into our second Beacon Spotlight of the day. This one from the other senior being honored here, Miranda Smith, as she talks about going into psychedelic research.
I'm studying social psychology, and I think I want to go to grad school for psychedelic research for mental illnesses. I've been interested in learning more about psychedelic research for about a year or 2 years. It's really interesting. It has a lot of positive outcomes for mental illness in the long term, as well as just in the short term, too. I read a book called Acid Test, and it's just about this organization MAPS, something that's really big in psychedelic research, and it's just the story about the guy who founded it and his whole premise for the thing, and it tells us stories about people who have experienced this stuff and went through it and had psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, and just it's so cool, and it's just really neat. So they mostly do MDMA assisted psychotherapy sessions, and it's usually with people in PTSD, and they also do some with alcoholism. So I think this is so important because instead of pumping someone full of drugs, for so many years that might not even work or might not even help them, they can go and take 1 or 2 sessions of this psychedelic psychotherapy, and a year later they could not have any symptoms. And many studies have shown 60 to 70% of participants have no symptoms for a year later.
Again, Miranda Smith, one of 2 Beacon seniors to be honored here today. One of the final home games she will play on this field. UMass Boston with a 2-0 lead here at the half. They have absolutely dominated the pace. And the 2 goals coming, again, courtesy of Isa Andrade and Jackie Turner, coming up with her first goal of 2019. And in net, Maria Spilios really only tested once. It was a near miss for Keene State, as Jordan Abashano was just a little too tall with an attempt. Spilios came out of the net, and the shot was too tall. Could have gotten Keene State back into the game, but it did not go. And that was the story of the first half for the Owls. 2-0 is our score. And are we ready with our stats here, or are we going to go into something else? We are ready with the stats. How about that? Ask and you shall receive. Look at that. 25-1 is the advantage in shots. I don't know that I've seen a disparity like that in a long time. Shots on goal, 11-zip. Saves, Spilios didn't have to make any. Keene State with 9, Abby Tarinka. 3 corners for the Beacons. Keene State didn't get any, and the fouls even, 4 apiece. All right, now we're going to go into some highlights from the last UMass Boston game. Tuesday, 5-0 win over Framingham. Enjoy.
I'm ready. Come on.
Feel it coming in the air, hear the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted to the thrill. It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who gon' run this town tonight.
I'm ready.
All right, well, that was the 5-0 shutout at Framingham that the Beacons enjoyed prior to today, and they're continuing that run of success, again going for 14 consecutive wins if they can come up with this one. 2-0 is the score at the half. So we take you around Beaconville now. Talked about some of these games earlier. Now we can update you with where they are. Volleyball across the street, up 2-0 on Keene State. They're in the third right now, going for the sweep. Men's soccer at Keene State right now, and it's 2-1 in favor of the Owls at the half. And men's hockey coming up later today against the EHL All-Stars. That's a 4 o'clock start. So that's around Beaconville, and now we're going to go into men's soccer highlights from when they played Framingham Tuesday as well. The women came up with a shutout. The men did too. It was 3-0. Here are the highlights. All right, well, it was a successful Tuesday for this program. 2 shutout wins at Framingham, the men, with that 3-0 win, the highlights of which you just saw. All right, the Little East scoreboard. Have some games to update you on here. A couple of them have gone final. Western Connecticut, 3-1 at UMass Dartmouth, so they get the win there. Southern Maine with a shutout of Rhode Island, 1-0 the final there. A couple other games ongoing. You got Plymouth State with a 1-0 lead against Castleton. That one's in the second half. And Brandeis in Eastern Connecticut, they're in the same spot that we are at the half. And Brandeis with a 1-0 lead in that one. So, the sheet in front of me says if there's a lot of time left in halftime, which there is, then we're supposed to play some volleyball highlights for you. So that means that you're going to see some volleyball highlights right now.
Sorry, I ain't got no money, I'm not trying to be funny, but I left it all at home today. You can call me what you wanna, I ain't giving you $1 this time, I ain't gonna run away. You might knock me down, you might knock me down, but I will get back up again. You can call it how you wanna, I ain't giving you $1 this time, I ain't gonna run away.
All right, so again, those highlights from volleyball last Wednesday against Southern Maine. It was a 3-0 sweep as they continue to wind down their regular season. Just a couple minutes away from starting the second half here, so why not? We got nothing else to do. Let's look ahead to what else is coming up. And we already talked about this. The final scheduled home game of the regular season for this women's soccer team. Next Tuesday night, Bridgewater State will be in here. It's a 7 o'clock start. And then Saturday, November the 2nd, at Western Connecticut, a 2 o'clock kickoff. And at that point, everything will be all sewn up one way or the other, and the Little East Conference tournament will begin. Both of these teams figure to be a part of it. UMass Boston, obviously, in the running for that number 1 seed along with Western Connecticut, so that last game is going to be huge because something's going to have to give, you would think, in terms of one of these two coming away with a conference loss to determine the first and second seeds. And then Keene State in that third position right now, trying to maintain that. Although if they don't rally here in the second half, they're going to fall to 4-3 in conference play. The goals by Andrade and Turner. And off we go in the second half, as Keene State, as they do, has made the goalie switch. So Abby Tarinka, who was a little gimpy there toward the end of the first half anyway, is done. And now it is the junior Shelby Offord, 5'6" out of Shelton, Connecticut, who comes in. Offord on the season a GAA of 1.86. She's allowed 3 more goals than Tarinka, 13-10. That was coming into today, and she's played in 1 less game, 12. Then Tarinka's 13. Here's one out in front, and trying to go up for it was Grace McGettrick, but couldn't come down and make a play. So out near midfield it goes. Keene State, they had a wide open man down here on the near sideline. Sarah Karen, she had her hand all the way up in the air, but they just couldn't sneak it through that first line of defense. That would have been a drive right up against Spilios in net if they could have gotten it there. See what kind of attack the Owls come out with here, what adjustments they've made to this UMass Boston defense that pretty much put the clamps on them in that first half. They just couldn't generate anything. We showed you the numbers at the half. 0 shots on goal. They did have the one near miss, but not considered a shot on goal from Abashano that just went over the crossbar. Here's one, and again, they had Karen on the near side, but they couldn't get it by Kenya Wade. So that play, at least the design of it, is working, trying to get Sarah Karen set up with a drive to the net, but it's that line of defenders for the Beacons. Kenya Wade, Danny Anderson, Mary Jo Murphy. They just haven't allowed anything here in this game. On the near side they go. And this one played back out near midfield, and Karen will race over and touch it. Karen tries to tee one up. Anderson gets over there to play it. Over here to the near side it goes, and Abashano was who they were looking for. They try to set her up again, and this one will be kicked out of play by Jackie Turner. And we mentioned it's family day here for UMass Boston, but there is also a heavy Keene State contingent here in the stands. Saw several of those people walking into the game earlier, so they are well supported, as they always are, here on the road. Just over 3 minutes gone by here in the second half. So this one goes out of play. So this winning streak for the Beacons, you say, well, okay, who've they beaten? Well, I'll tell you. Salem State, Western New England, Castleton, Regis, Eastern Connecticut, UMass Dartmouth in overtime, as Offord comes out to field this. Plymouth State, Salve Regina, Curry, Southern Maine in double overtime, Rhode Island, and Framingham. Count them up, and that's the win streak coming in. The only two losses for this team, both on the road. They lost the season opener August the 30th at Smith. That one was 2-0, and they lost on September the 10th at Babson. That one was 2-0. Keene State, by the way, coming in, had won 5 in a row. Their last one, a 4-0 shutout over Salem State. But it has been a struggle here today, to say the least, as Oliver fights for it over on the far side. Tried to center one up for Andrade, who was there waiting, but the Keene State defense plays it back, and Patricia Norton was involved in that. UMass Boston again keeps it on this side. Oliver tries to center one, gets it in. Here's a shot off the post from McGettrick. She had an open net. Offord a little sloppy with the technique, but she doesn't pay for it, as this one goes back out of play off the foot of Pitts. That was a chance there for Grace McGettrick to make this a 3-0 game. And a missed opportunity as Offord with the kick here. Beacons keep it in the attacking zone. Andrade, if this one will ever come down, had a chance to drive in on it, but it hung up so long that now she has to restart the attack. Fires one up and over the crossbar. That one had good trajectory to it. Looked like it was going to slice in just a little too much. She was going for her second. As this one gets played out shy of the midfield stripe. And Keene State, again, just can't get it out of this zone here. It's been the problem all day. Coming in, Maria Spilios, as this one is shot in on Offord and deflected out of play off to the left. Maria Spilios, a GAA of 0.71 for the Beacons. And you take a look, the last time they even gave up a goal was in that game at Rhode Island back on the 19th. So it's been 3 consecutive halves perfect for Spilios now, as Turner handles the throw-in from the side out. And this one gets kicked right back where it came from. Under 38 minutes left in regulation. Beacons looking for a third here, but this one is headed up and over by Oliver. Had good position there right in front of the net, but just too much on the header attempt. And Offord now with the kick. Going back the other way. This is an interesting setup with the two goalies. I mean, you don't usually see this, especially for a team that's been as successful as Keene State has been this year, as Offord comes out and slides to corral that. I mean, it speaks to the caliber of the goalkeeping on this team that they've got two veterans, again, both Offord and Tarinka are juniors, that they feel equally confident in putting out there. And we told you the numbers earlier. I mean, they're virtually equal. The GAA a little bit higher for Offord, 1.86 to Tarinka's 1.28. The saves, Tarinka's got 3 more. Tarinka's played 1 more game. But all in all, it's been pretty much identical production out of the two of them, which is rare. And it's just something that works for this Keene State team this year to split the game in half. As we told you, normally it's been the other way. Normally Offord will start the game and Tarinka will come in for the second half, and they flip-flopped it here today. So this one is played along the near side. It'll roll all the way back down toward Kenya Wade, but it'll never get there because Jackie Turner cut it off, and she handles the throw-in. 35 minutes left to go as we continue to tick on down. 2-zip. Still the score right now. UMass Boston with another potential chance here. Here's Oliver driving in. Tries to center one up for McGettrick. A collision in front. And both players down as this ball rolls out of play. And the official is going to go over, and he's signaling over to the UMass Boston bench. But McGettrick is getting up. Slowly, but she did get up on her own. The training staff does not have to come out. And that's the last thing you want to see if you're the Beacons, is somebody as important to the attack as Grace McGettrick is go down here. They may sub her out right now just to get her off her feet. I think that's what they're going to do. You can see she's still walking a little gingerly here. And Morgan Palma is going to come take her spot. She's really hobbling over there to try and get off the field. McGettrick coming in had scored in 3 straight games, 6 of the last 7. And in total, 12 goals, 2 assists, 26 points. The leading point getter on this squad by a mile. You got to have her right by the time you get to the tournament. So, depending on how the rest of this one goes, we'll see. Here's a center for Andrade, but Offord picks that off. Does Keene State have anything offensively here in the second half? Try and get back into this game. All it would take is 1 here, and they would accomplish that at least, getting back into this game as they play it back down to Offord. It just has been radio silence for much of the day here for the Owls offense. As here's another potential chance for Oliver, and a line drive that goes well wide to the right. I mean, you take a look at Keene State, they've been scoring. I mean, it's not like offense has been a huge problem. They had 4 in their last game against Salem State, just 1 against UMass Dartmouth prior to that. 3 against Plymouth. They scored 8 against Framingham, and obviously that's a team that UMass Boston beat up on too. But this team very capable of scoring. It just, for whatever reason, hasn't come together yet today. 32 minutes to go. And it's played along. Andrade trying to catch up to it here on the near side. Cannot. She was cut off by Dalmeda. And a whistle, and you're going to have another sub for the Beacons here. It's Taylor Bilyak, the senior, coming back in, and that's going to send Oliver to the bench. So Offord kicks it out near the midfield stripe. Wade involved. Kelly McNeil as well, and now they play it over to Mary Jo Murphy in the far side corner. Races over, prevents it from going out of play. And now Murphy with a little step back move. And out toward midfield it goes. And Keene State will play it along. Nice job by Abishano to keep it on her foot. But, again, there's just nobody back there as Spilios very aggressively comes out to play that, and she was fortunate that she got her foot on it because if not, that could have been disastrous. That's one of those where she almost overplayed it. And that could have been the break for Keene State to get back into this game as well, but just didn't go their way. 30 minutes left in this one. And Amy Zombeck looking for another victory here, the winningest coach in school history here at UMass Boston in her 15th season. Came into the year with 134 wins. And again, it would mean a little extra something here today going against her alma mater, where she played as an All-American. Part of the reason why this rivalry has been so important here in the league is Wade kicks it out near midfield and has it ricochet all the way back to Turner. Both these coaches, Amy Zombeck, who's in her 15th year, told you Denise Lyons, been around for 24 years at Keene State. These are two landmark programs for women's soccer here in the Little East. As this one is going to be played over by Biliak. And just kind of slugging our way along here right now. 29 minutes left to go as this one gets played back down the other end. Anderson spikes it up. And now Kenya Wade says, I've had enough of that. Gets it out toward midfield. And on we go. Keene State can't keep it in the zone here for long. At least they haven't been able to all day long here. That's a nice job by Biliak, forcing Keene State over to the sideline. And you're going to have a foul called over there, so it will be a free kick coming. And this one played near the center. Kenya Wade right there on it. And immediately it's cleared out. Dalmeda racing after it as it gets played on the near side here. And you're going to have stepping out of bounds. Is that the call over there on Biliak, or did they get a foul? They got a foul because it's going to be another free kick. And they get Biliak for it as this is played into the center. And again, there's just nothing there. Allie Crawford races after it. As it heads back down the other way, played toward the scorer's table, and will continue on. Well, if Keene State can make a comeback here, and they get a win, it would move them into sole possession of third in the conference standings right now with just 1 week to go. They had a pair of losses at the beginning of this month, but then, as we told you, they've won 5 straight. And since October 9th coming in, they had allowed just 2 goals, both of which came against Plymouth. But they've already matched that total here today, 2 in the first half for UMass Boston, one by Andrade and the other by Turner. And as we told you in that first half, they're very fortunate that 2 is all they gave up. The Beacons have just absolutely controlled things from the jump here. Keene State desperate for something, anything, as Spilios comes out and shovels it forward. And they play it along to Murphy, who has a lot of grass in front of her, or turf in this case. I got it right. Murphy kicks it along And out in front of the Beacons bench it goes. They had a chance there with Murphy, but nothing else comes of it. Here she is again, driving in. Somebody on Keene State thought that play had been stopped, but it didn't, as the shot goes wide here, and Offord will place the ball on the turf and come back out here for the kick. "26 minutes and counting to go. Still 2-zip here. UMass Boston hasn't had much going offensively here in the second half, but they really haven't needed to. See if they can come up with anything here. Andrade in the middle has it taken off of her foot. And out of play it goes. Now, you're kind of getting to that stage of the game here where defense becomes the priority. If you're UMass Boston, you have a 2-goal lead. It's a team that hasn't done anything offensively against you all day, so if you can just protect the lead, you're going to be okay here. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be a throw-in for Turner. She gets it up to Andrade. And a little mini collision that time. Pitts involved in it. And back the other way they go. Here's Ocampo. First time we've seen her in the second half. She sneaks one up to Allie Crawford. Crawford with a shot in the center, but a little bit too far. As they had the play set up. They had Morgan Palma racing to the net, but the lead pass a little too far, and it goes out of play. Back down the other way they go. Anderson. And another battle out near midfield. The official puts both hands out, says didn't see anything. Ocampo the other way. Andrade calling for it in the middle. Instead, they try and sneak it through to Palma. But the Keene State defense on it. Palma comes away with it. She goes down, no call. Ocampo has it still on her right foot. Gets it back out. Here's Pitts driving in, or rather, this is Crawford, tries to center one in. Andrade with the rebound. Here's one, and it's taken off of Andrade's foot. Rebound out there again, and here's the mass attack for UMass Boston. Couple of different rebounds there, but couldn't sneak anything through, and now finally Offord brings a stop to it all. So you had a little pinball action going on there in front of the net, but UMass Boston could not put one home. And it's still 2-0. And the Beacons defense again comes up with a loose ball. This time it's Turner here on the near side. Plays it along. 23 minutes left in regulation. So the Keene State offense starting to run out of time to get this thing into gear. Or at least get on the scoreboard here. As Norton will bring it down. Open room in front of her. Tried to leave one for Karen. But a nice job of hustling back by Murphy. And Pitts involved on defense there as well. It has been a cast of many for UMass Boston on defense today. They have shut down any and all attacks for Keene State. Crawford plays it up herself. Takes it over to the far side. Now centers one, and this one gets played back out. Ocampo there on the rebound, and it's taken away. Patricia Norton gets it back the other way for the Owls. And now you got Karen, who runs into her own teammate Reynolds and says, get out of my way. Over on the far side, They try and drive one in. Abishano was down there waiting, but Spilios ends up having to come over and retrieve another loose ball that was headed nowhere. With 21 and a half minutes to go. Anderson driving along, and now the Beacons get it back onto that side of the field, and that's been the formula all day today, basically just playing keep away. So this one goes out of play. You're going to have substitutions on both sides. As looks like it's Kaylee Haynes coming in here for the Beacons. Allie Crawford will take a seat. Haynes, the freshman out of Bridgewater, 2 goals this year, coming against Castleton and Eastern Connecticut. She's into the game for the final 20 minutes here, and right on cue, here she is. Haynes on the near side, being guarded by Vogt, and Vogt ends up kicking it out of play, or rather Haynes did, so it'll go back to Keene State here. And here's another switch, Ocampo coming out. And it's Katie Pasquale, sophomore out of Worcester, who had a perfect shot percentage in her freshman season last year. She's in there. So Pasquale and Haynes getting some time here in the second half. As this one's played along, Beacon's trying to put this one away with a third goal. Out in front, it's Haynes. Haynes, and somehow a kick save by Offord. And it goes wide. Oh, Haynes, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity, a better look than that. But what a job by Offord to get down there and reach the right hand out and prevent a third goal from coming in. Keene State now back the other way. Is that the spark that Keene State needed here? This one kicked out of play on the far side by Bilyak, who's still out there. It's going to be a throw-in over there for the Owls, and you got the sense that if Keene State's going to have any chance here in these next 9 minutes or so before we get under 10, one's got to go in. You see Karen handling it. They try to sneak one over to the far side. Bilyak says, And now, just shy of midfield, it's handled by Norton. Trying to sneak one for Karen here in the center, and that's played well by Jackie Turner out over near the corner, I should say. And the official finally puts his flag up. So it was going to be a throw-in, but it still will be because he was repositioning people. All right, after the throw-in, Andrade trying to sneak it along. Dalmeida in front of the bench kicks it back down, and Spilios didn't have to worry about overplaying that one because rolled right to her. 17:50 left. Keene State desperate to get one in. Make this thing a game here down the stretch. UMass Boston continues to control the possession. Back down the other way it goes. Dalmeida. And played out towards center, where it goes right over into the Beacons, or rather the Owls bench. And the horn sounds again as this is Bilyak coming out. Mary Jo Murphy checks back into the game here for the Beacons. And Kenya Wade will just play this one out. 17 minutes to go. And the throw in on the side. Andrade plays this one along. And Pasquale Kicks it right into the bench, so Keene State with a throw-in from there. And Victoria Reynolds trying to handle it. Rachel Braun over there as well, and she handles the throw-in now. The scorer's table quiet for now. And see what happens here. You're going to have another Beacon switch as Allie Crawford's going to come in and take Andrade out. And we'll see if that's the day for Isa Andrade. 15:56 to go. 2-0. You'd imagine if Keene State got one on the board, she probably comes back in. As here, this is Crawford trying to center one up for Haynes, but good defense played in the middle by Rebecca Freitas. And now Danny Anderson with it. I don't think there's any doubt that UMass Boston just playing keep away here at this point, glorified keep away anyway. They'll go for a chance here. Murphy, again, they're trying to center up Haynes here in the middle. This has been a concerted effort ever since Kaylee Haynes came into the game. They've run a lot of plays for her designed to get her open right in front of the net. As you got another switch here, Pasquale coming out, Grace Oliver coming back in. It's going to be a corner for Crawford. Haynes sets up in front. Here's the corner. It comes in, and it ricochets off of a Keene State defender, and it's going to go all the way out. So it'll be a throw-in from here. Jackie Turner. So they can't take advantage of the corner. And now out toward midfield it goes, and a chance here for Abishano if she can hustle past Wade, but she cannot. That's the closing speed of Kenya Wade to get back there and kick that thing out of play and force a throw-in, allow the rest of her teammates a chance to catch up. And that's just what makes it difficult. Do you have the straight line speed to get away from some of these UMass Boston defenders? And the answer for most teams in this league is no. Out toward midfield here, Mary Jo Murphy with it. Right in front of the Keene State bench, says they'll just cut my losses. Now a throw-in. 13:25, all that's left. This one played in front of the Beacon's bench. It's out of play. Well, the Beacons on this senior day staring 13 consecutive wins right in the face. As Wade will knock this one over into the Keene State bench. Coming up on 12:40 to go. As a Keene State attacker goes down, that was Caitlin Close in the middle. As this one is sent in to Spilios by Alyssa Wilcox, and that's some of the most energy she's had to expend all day here. She kicks this one back out toward midfield. It has been a silent night, if you will, for Spilios. Just hasn't been much going on at all for Keene State. It's been made easy for 0-0. This one out toward midfield, and a chance to play it along by Crawford. Here comes a breakaway. McGettrick, but they call offside. Now Grace McGettrick was all alone, and it was going to be her against Offord, but blown dead before it could even get going. That would have been possibly the kill shot for UMass Boston, but instead, still 2-zip, and time continues to tick away. 11:20 left as Turner plays it along. And now driving in Crawford. Crawford leaving it on the far side. They're going to get another offside call here. Oliver, in frustration, kicked that thing a mile high at the end of it, but that's another offside call to go against the Beacons here in this game. There have been a few of them. And that's one area that they're going to look at in the film afterwards. As successful as today has been defensively for them, offensively they've had some missed opportunities to blow this thing out of the water. Here's Oliver, and this one's too high. Coming up on 10 minutes left to go, and there's the horn. Keene State going to make a change. Karen's coming out. And it's Ashley Bates, number 11, junior from Wardsboro, Vermont, at 5'2". She comes in. And UMass Boston continuing to stay on the attack. As here's a drive in and a shot that goes up over everything off the foot of Crawford. So they centered her up. And now it looks like Andrade is going to come back in, and Kaylee Haynes comes out. So it was an active stay in the game for Kaylee Haynes. Probably goes to the bench feeling like she should have a goal or two. She was very active when she was in there. 9.5 left, and if the Beacons finish this one off, all they would need is a tie in that final game at Western Connecticut to earn a share of the regular season title. Doesn't matter what happens here against Bridgewater. All they would need is a tie at Western Connecticut, and they've got half of the regular season title at least. Obviously, they'd prefer to just win it outright. As you got a trip here, McNeil, she tangled legs with Bates. So, going to be a free kick for Keene State, and this one's a must convert. It's Caitlin Close. Fires one in, and it's way too high. Up over Spilios. So even when they've had those opportunities with free kicks today, just hasn't been much of anything that's gone Keene State's way. Anderson kicks this one right into the arms of assistant coach Ike McMillan over there on the Keene State bench. Under 8 to go. And we're going to have a corner coming up here. So here's Maggie Vogt going over to take it as the Owls given perhaps one last shot here. As they try and set things up in the middle. Spilios barks out orders. Here's the kick in. And in front, Spilios comes out and gets her hands on it. Well, they did have a chance. Patricia Norton in front. But not enough on it to get it by Spilios. But that one made the heart rate rise a little bit on the UMass Boston bench. As this one's kicked back over. Anderson, as she runs straight into Bates. And they both go down. And it's played back to Wilcox. Back out it goes. Norton here. And Kenya Wade comes over, gets her head on it. Norton fires one. Desperation time here, but right at Spilios. Six and a half left. Up ahead it goes. It's going to go out of play right in front of the UMass Boston bench and take even more precious seconds off this clock. UMass Boston staring at 16-2 and 7-0 in league play, assuming they finish this one off, as this one goes wide right of Spilios' net. Thrown in by Caitlin Close. Well, Spilios with the short kick out this time, took a little bit off of it, and it'll be thrown in by Braun momentarily, but now it's going to go back the other way to Mary Jo Murphy. 5:20 left in regulation. And here come the Beacons on the breakaway. Oliver chasing after it. McGettrick in the center. Oliver centers one up, and it goes wide left. And you had McGettrick hit the turf again. Thankfully got up quicker this time. She's taken some licks here in the second half. It's been a physical game. We've talked about it throughout. Saw Abby Tarinka in net for Keene State in the first half. Almost have to come out of the game after she was kicked in the left leg. Stayed in. Here's Andrade going down to the turf, but she manages to get it over, but not before. Offside is called. So free kick coming here in front of Shelby Offord. Out toward midfield it goes. Played there by Norton. And this defense, which has been dominant today, trying to finish it off here in the last 4 minutes. Send everybody home. Kelly McNeil has it. Now it's played over to Bates. Bates with McGettrick trailing her. And they tried to center one over for Abishano. Didn't work. Out toward midfield it goes with Murphy. And now Andrade. Oh, they would have had a golden opportunity there had that one snuck through, but the Keene State defense stands up, and it was Nicole Dalmeida who got in the way, or otherwise Andrade had a clean one-on-one opportunity at the net. McGettrick with it. Looking for the put away here. McGettrick driving in with the right foot, and a little bit of a shove from Vogt. And it's going to result in a corner here. Or no, it's not. It's going to be a throw-in here on the near side. No, I was right the first time. It is a corner. So McNeil will go over there. And just a little dump off as it turns out to Crawford. They're just trying to run the clock now at this point. 2.5 to go. It's bumped out of play. Clock keeps on ticking. And we'll see if we have the tag team on the corner here again. We don't, as this one comes into McGettrick. Played along back. Ticking seconds off of this clock and heading towards a 7-0 record in Little East play. That's what the Beacons are doing here. Under 2 minutes. As this one played along, racing after it, Kaliana Palhoff, who has pretty much been silent here today. Bates gets it in for the Owls as they try to just mount one last little rally here. Try and get on the scoreboard. So it trickles out to Bates. Plays it on back, and Vogt will knock one down in the direction of close. Wade comes over, knocks it out of play. She hits the deck. And you're going to have a foul here as the clock continues to tick down as we head toward 1 minute left in this game. Anderson will handle the kick, but Spilios wants to come over now. Again, just chewing up more time as we are under a minute left in regulation. And the Beacons on their way as Wade gets in the way of a potential shot from Wilcox. This one knocked back towards Spilios, who comes all the way out and reels it in. As we come up on half a minute. They're going to be 16-2. They're going to be 7-0 in Little East play. It's not bad. And the win streak will extend to 14 as we come up on 20 seconds to go. And again, all they're going to need is a tie in that last regular season game at Western Connecticut, and they will clinch a share, at least, of the Little East regular season title. 14 in a row. And this one officially in the books. 2 first-half goals, one by Isa Andrade, one by Jackie Turner. All the Beacons needed here today. A dominating defensive effort. And your final score, UMass Boston 2 and Keene State nothing. So with the loss, the Owls drop to 500 overall. They're 8-8, and they are now 4-3 in Little East play. As you see the final score there, 2-0. As we work on getting the final stats here for you, we'll give you a look at those before we hop off the air here. But again, for UMass Boston, 14 in a row. They'll try to extend it to 15 when they host Bridgewater here at 7 o'clock next Tuesday night. And then next Saturday, November the 2nd, will be that big-time matchup at Western Connecticut that will more than likely determine the regular season title here in the Little East and who gets that number 1 seed heading into the tournament. All right, here comes your look at the final numbers. A lot to a little. 38-7 in shots. Shots on goal, 12-3. You see Keene State with 10 saves. That's combined between the two goalies, Tarinka and Offord. Spilios only needed 3 of them. Corners, 6-1 in favor of UMB in the fouls. Again, one of the only other things that the Beacons could complain about here. 9-6, 3 more fouls than Keene State. That's something they'll try and clean up heading into the final 2 games of the regular season, which are right here. Next Tuesday against Bridgewater, 7 o'clock start here. Saturday, November the 2nd at Western Connecticut. That one huge. 2 o'clock kickoff, very likely. It will determine the regular season championship. And with that, mercifully, that just about does it. So again, your final score, UMass Boston 2 and Keene State nothing. There's our crew. For Dave, Alyssa, Kyle, everybody else, I'm Mike Drew saying so long from James Cotter Field. Again, UMass Boston 2 and Keene State nothing.